One of the reasons I started CaraVita Home Care is that I had a personal passion to help families understand how it is to take care of someone with dementia. I grew up caring for my grandmother at 16 years of age. I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know why she roamed around the house at night. I did a lot of things that probably weren't the right things to do. And looking back as a healthcare provider, I realized that probably most families were just like me. They didn't have any knowledge of the disease. They didn't know what to do, and they were doing the very best they could, tirelessly. But as I went on to school and had about 30 to 40 years in the healthcare field, particularly working in senior care, I saw there's a huge gap between what doctors tell you in a hospital versus the reality of how you need to care for someone in the home. So I was committed to creating an agency that would address those needs, that would simply sit with those families and tell them, this is what dementia means. This is what your mom is struggling with. Personalizing it by letting them have the virtual dementia tour and experiencing what it's like to feel dementia. And then saying, this is not hopeless. We can show you how to work with your mom, and your mom can still enjoy a lot of life if you do a few simple ways of interacting. And I also realized that no one comes with a manual on how to care for aging parents. So what I wanted to do was to put together a team of healthcare professionals, nurses, therapists, geriatric care managers, that we could educate and coach families in this journey of caregiving. Likewise, supplementing them with professional caregivers that we would manage and individualize in the care plans to meet their unique needs as they take the aging journey. And that's a passion for me. For me, home care is a decision that you want to age in a place where you feel you have autonomy and you have independence. A space, whether it be in your own home or whether it be in a senior living, where it's not a medical situation. It's a situation where you can live your life, enjoy the things that you have, enjoy your memories, interact with folks in a space that you control, not that's controlled by someone else. And this is special. Each person deserves the ability to have their independence for as long as possible. And just because you're given a diagnosis of dementia or some other physical debilitating disease doesn't mean you lose the person that you are. It just means you need a little bit of assistance at the right time. And so what we try to provide is to teach families how to provide that correct amount of assistance, and also how our caregivers can understand how they can make each day meaningful in the home, not just a day of chores. When I started CaraVita, I was very intentional that in order to give families a good solution to managing the transition from a hospital to home, or really in managing any type of debilitating illness, they needed a healthcare team. Many other agencies may be a franchise owned by a business owner, or they may have a nurse who's supporting in the field. But we're the only agency that has an entire interdisciplinary team to meet each and every need that those families are going to face in their caregiving journey. For instance, we have a geriatric care manager who can help families with the dynamics that go on with the grieving process of an illness. We have a nurse who's able to provide assessment services and coaching and counseling, as well as coordination with other healthcare services. And we have therapists who can look at transfers, how your home can be made safer, and just exercises that can keep you vital, both for your body as well as for your mind. This, I think, is unique, and there's no other agency that I know of that provides this. When we were deciding where CaraVita would eventually have its office, my decision was not to put it in an office building, but to have it within a home, so we could replicate real-life experiences of what families would deal with as they're working with their family members. The Academy at CaraVita was created for several reasons. The first reason was we wanted to educate caregivers to become professional certified nursing assistants. We know in the field there are many caregivers who have years of experience, but really need that professional training that will allow them to be on a registry and have greater education, so we provide that. The Academy was also founded for families, so they could take a virtual dementia tour by the Second Wind Dreams and experience for 8 minutes what it means to have dementia, as well as we provide that for all the caregivers in the field so they can understand some of the behaviors that they might experience or some of the reasons why people need to be meaningfully engaged through the journey of dementia. We also provide classes in CPR and first aid. We provide classes in how to help someone through the death and dying process, or even simple things as active listening and counseling for people as they go through their journey. The Academy is open usually throughout the day and at evening, and we also take it out in the community and work with churches and other community organizations to provide a variety of caregiving type of topics that might be of interest to families as they're going through this process. We use an acronym here when we're working with caregivers to make what we do very simple for them to understand. When we talk about I have promises to fulfill, they say, well, what is that promise? And I say it's we care. We care for the loved ones you serve as we care for our family members. The W meaning wellness. The E meaning exceeding their expectations, finding out what they want and trying to delight them each and every day. We do it through communication. We think it's important that our schedulers and our care managers and our nurses and therapists communicate regularly with families to let them know what's going on, and that our caregivers communicate with us so we can help them in the care planning process. We also believe it's attention to regularly looking at the client's needs and to reporting back small changes that may mimic bigger problems down the road so we can prevent that and have a better outcome. It means respect. Respecting the people we care for who they are, not just another client, but a person with a life story and with needs. And lastly, it's through engagement. And that's the fun part, actively engaging people in life, not just taking care of needs. At CaraVita, really the core of our business is the caregivers. We have to provide caregivers that match the needs of the clients we serve. So we begin that process in the beginning. When we do caregiver interviews, we go over what skills you're inept with. We do a skills check so we can see how people transfer and how they move people, how they do exercises, how they understand medication. But the other part of doing the interview is behavioral. And that's where we ask the questions. When you encounter this situation, how would you react? Or have you ever had a situation where someone had behaviors that you had to help calm? Why do you think they had those behaviors? And I'm looking for answers that tell me they understand a disease process, they understand people. And then lastly, I'm also looking for who's gregarious, who's quieter. Because just because I have a great caregiver go into someone's home doesn't mean it's the right chemistry match. No different than you and I having different friends. And if you're in someone's home, you're in their personal space. So I want to find someone who's gregarious to match them with a gregarious client. I want to look for someone who's very detailed oriented to go into a client's home where everything's exacting and everything's in its place. Those things are important. And being able to do that allows us for what we call the stabilization of a case. And the sooner I can get the right caregiver match with the right skills, with the right client, our cases are stabilized, and that provides happy families.